Let me set this up. Yeah, I think we good. Shut that off. And I think it might. We're just gonna have to see how it goes. All right. Next. Shalom. Shalom. Woo. Shalom, everybody. Shalom. All right. So, shalom, shalom. So today I wanted to kind of like just come on real quick and just share some of the things I've been learning in midwifery school. It's been so awesome learning all these things concerning birth. Right now, well, I go to a Woman's Way Warrior midwifery training, and I'll put that link in the description so you can check out that school, because right now this semester is all about kind of like the mindset, decolonizing the mind, and just like reclaiming and restoring the granny midwives that were here from the beginning. And so that's kind of what I wanted to talk about, how amazing it is that over half of the births, well, women throughout history, especially our history, women have always helped women with birth. It's always been a midwife. They was not until probably a little bit before the 1900s, but this war on midwifery in the West, on the African diaspora, us, the Hebrews, um, and all the other midwives that were working at the time, um, during 1900, when the white male obstetrician came on the scene. That's when there was this shift of basically like, we want that birth money, like we want that birth money that these midwives are getting, or whatever. We weren't getting all much at all, but just to say that like they were going to make a profit out of birth. And so they made up regulations and a whole system to so that midwives couldn't work anymore, basically, and eradicated midwifery. And midwives today are still fighting, and so it's just amazing here in the history that over half of the births here in the United States, at least, were assisted by midwives alone, and they were home births. So it's just a beautiful thing that we're kind of getting back to that, because ever since we kind of left that, based off this system, you know, a lot of us, a lot of death for the mothers and the children, a lot of assault, a lot of traumatizing, and terrorizing, like um racism, and all these things that has happened to us while we've been in the hospital laboring, or just going in there, prenatal checkups, all these things, delivering, all these things. And so all these negative things, I mean. And so it's beautiful to see the Most High calling so many of us to rise up, become birth workers, assist one another, and help one another when it's time to birth our nation. So, yeah, I mean, I'll start off with prayer, and then I wanted to just like jump into some of the things I've been learning. um, so, Abba Yahuwah, we thank you for this day, this beautiful day that you have made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. We thank you. You're doing great things with your women, and blessing and keeping your children, and calling us to do the same. We do not take it lightly. We bring it before you. We lay it at your feet and know that we can do nothing apart from you. It's only by you that we're able to do anything. So we thank you for the ability and the power that you have created us with as women to birth. We thank you for the strength that you have given us, the joy you have given us in bringing forth birth and new new fruit into the earth. And we thank you for the women that support us, who love us, and who hold that space. And we pray that you would lead and direct this time right now to say what you want, reveal what you want to be revealed, um, that we would hear what you want us to hear, and that we would say what you want us to say today. In the name of Yahusha HaMashiach, hallelujah. Okay, so this week I had to prepare for a paper called The Art of Midwifery, and it had blessed me. It is just blessed me because I'm like thinking, um, you go into the classes and it just makes you really think of like the art of midwifery. This presentation that I had to do made me really think of, okay, um what is birth to me, made me reflect on all that, like the whole calling. And so, like, what is birth to me, the art of midwifery and what it is today, and how I would change the narrative, and also how my practice would, if I have when I have a practice, like how it's going to, you know, what was it called? Implement the change of the narrative. So, I mean, I'll start with that because it it kind of says it all. So, my presentation is about the art of midwifery, and I had to do, for those who just joining in, I had to do this presentation for my class at a Woman's Way Warrior Midwifery Training, and I was just saying that it has blessed my life just because it made me really reflect on what midwifery is to me, what it is today, and what and how I my practice would implement the changes. So yeah, I'm gonna start with it now. It said, so at the beginning it says, um oh yeah, and I want to also mention I had to reference throughout the time I had to reference like books that they had us studying. So we have the optimal care in childbirth, and it was the case for a physiologic approach. So that's what it was. Like, what is a physiological approach? What is the art of midwifery? And how is the narrative changed, and also how my practice would implement the change of that narrative. I might be saying a little bit differently, but from midwives to medicine, I haven't read all of them straight through, but we had to read parts of it, and it really just opened my eyes. Why not me? Haven't read this one yet, but I'll share. Medical Apartheid. Only read like the beginning. The Thinking Woman's Guide to a Better Birth. Heart and Hands. That was a blessing. And Birth Reborn. So, yes, I'll reference these books throughout the presentation, but it's quick. So, at heart, I always thought that pregnancy and birth, oh, I didn't even show y'all on YouTube, but I hope y'all seen it. At heart, I always thought that pregnancy and birth was a miracle from the Most High Yah creator. As a child, I became fascinated by watching TLC birth stories and the joy women had when meeting their newborn miracle. All of these births were in hospitals, and so that's where I thought birth had to happen. I was conditioned to look at pregnancy and birth as a medical emergency and the need of medical intervention as the norm. As my understanding of the Creator and His creation began to grow, I began to realize that pregnancy and birth is a part of a woman's natural function, and that powerful function is her natural ability to safely bear fruit. The art of midwifery, to me, is to fervently protect that woman's power and naturally inherited birthright by allowing her body to function in the way it was intentionally created. I realized that what I was conditioned to believe about pregnancy and birth was intentional. In the early 1900s, when medicine became a profession for profit and the newly emerged male physician became eager for the revenues of childbirth, that was stated in the Heart and Hands book, the standard of care concerning labor and birth became dysfunctional. Regulations and laws are now in place, eradicating the midwife's autonomy as helper and healer for women. This dysfunctional system, motivated by the love of money, leaves women without access to a community midwife and her child in the hands of expensive physicians, costing them their lives in many cases. Since the 1900s, when the the war on the art of midwifery started in the West, midwives were poor, politically powerless, and disorganized, making it easy for this dysfunctional system to pervert the perception of the art of midwifery. Let me add that the majority of midwives were of the African diaspora, attending approximately half of all births in the 1900s. The art of midwifery and the woman's sacred birthright had been hijacked. Instead of thinking of the functional innate power of the woman's womb and the functional system of midwives that protected her sacred space, the love of money and conspiracy against a certain people turned the miracle of pregnancy and birth dysfunctional. This strategic paradigm shift had a major impact, especially for the women of the African diaspora, the Hebrew Israelite, right? As a woman of the African diaspora, the art of midwifery today is not only to protect my sisters, but to fight for our right as birthing women and birth workers. Our lives and our children's lives depend on it. There has been a war declared on African people, and the art of midwifery is not only to pres- and the art of midwifery is not only to preserve the traditional process of childbirth and the right for a woman to receive holistic community care, but for the African diaspora, it is a battle to fight for the vessel and the fruit it carries. And for me, that starts with a practice that serves the overlooked, oppressed, but rising nation of people first. The African diaspora, Hebrews, right? Going back to our earliest history, I see Adam and Havah having most likely an unassisted birth, even with Miriam and Yahusha. But one story that stands out in particular is the story in Exodus. Medical intervention was never implemented in our earliest history. But what was midwives. That was the only like so-called intervention. It was support. In the book of Exodus, chapter 1, our ancestors were in the land of their oppressors, just like we are today. The powers that be conspired to commit genocide, saying, "See, the people of the children of Israel are more stronger than we. Come, let us act wisely toward them, lest they increase." They made them slaves and instructed their midwives. I emphasize instructed their midwives, the Hebrews midwives took care of Hebrews, and we as Hebrews got a Hebrew midwife. So I had to emphasize that. Um, Midwife Pua and Shipra saying, well, let me start because, they made them slaves and instructed their midwives, emphasize on their midwives, midwife Pua and midwife Shipra, saying, "When you see the Hebrew women on the birth stools, if it be a son, then you shall put him to death." The Hebrew midwives refused to hearken to Pharaoh's commandment. I say this all to say that in my practice, I believe it is my responsibility to fight practicing to fight practicing by any means necessary in creating a safe place for like-minded birth workers and mothers to fellowship, get trained, network, get resources, get care, and prepare to fight our part of the battle to birth our nation. My practice would focus on home birth. I don't have to get on all this. I'll just do this one little part unless y'all really want to hear it, but I'm just gonna say this last part because y'all don't have to know about all my practice ideas. Unless you want to know, then you just put that in the chat. But it says my practice will focus on home birth journey, and I got a reference from Journey to Births, and it says the reason why I would practice on home birth is for this reason. Women who seek midwifery care usually decide to give birth at home, seeking the comfort, the privacy, and the opportunity for family participation, and the proven fact that the more relaxed and at ease a laboring person feels, the more efficiently her body will function and less likely to opt for or receive intervention. My practice will be a home birth practice, but will have a facility available for the midwives in my community, aspiring birth workers, mothers with children, and teens to be educated in traditional women's reproductive health. And so I just go on with the details of the fellowship aspect of my practice, the training aspect of my practice, the networking aspect of my practice, the self care aspect of my practice, the resources aspect of my practice, and the fight aspect of my practice. And like I said, if you put in the chat that you want to hear all that, then we can go, then I'll definitely share. But since no one has said anything, I'm gonna go to the end part. Um, the art of midwifery to me is a fight to keep the space that prevents the traumatic experience that we of the African diaspora or the Hebrew Israelite, that to prevent that experience that we have had in the hands of our oppressors and this system, and to protect our roots and to preserve our heritage. So yes, that was what the art of midwifery meant to me, and I wanted to share that with y'all because um I just felt like it was Yah inspired, and the Most High really opened my eyes on how real um this is. So Plumlux wants to hear about the fight part. um all right. So here we go. And if you want to get in the conversation, you can put, cuz I would like to know, you know, everyone's kind of take on like, you know, their birth work, or what, even if you're not a birth worker, like, you know, what you would how you would see like us as we are rising, as we are serving one another, like, what do you, how do you, you know, would love to see it, you know, like, we see how we live today, we see the standard care that we normally opt for, which is the hospital, but we also see a huge exodus out of the hospital. I would like to know what any of you all feel, like, how do you guys feel about this, and like, what would you like to see, like, solutions for our people in whatever community you might live in right now. But yeah, so the fight part here, I'll read it. It says, the fight aspect of my practice. It says, today we are suffering from racial disparities in all areas, including healthcare and midwifery. The midwives and mothers coming in and out of my practice will revere the Most High Creator. They will be ready and or willing to prepare for their part in this fight and understand that, like midwife Shipra and midwife Pua, we must fearlessly and fervently protect the innate power of our sisters with holistic health care from womb to tomb by any means necessary. Like, there's a the reason why I had to put that. I mean, I'm not sure if you're familiar with like I don't know, like like different types, because I'm in a class, so there's different mindsets and different beliefs and faiths that everybody has. And so, and with this system, there's different ways in getting into midwifery, nurse midwifery, CPM, traditional midwifery, CM. Like, there's so many, like, it's annoying, but they all have different, like, nurse midwife, it's like, because I want to work in a hospital. This one, because I want to legally be able to work in this state or that state. Like, for me, it's like, I don't even care if I'm, like, I just feel like if I just gotta watch what I say, but I'm just saying in general, my sis needs help, and she know, like, I don't even know how to say it, but I hope you get it. Like, if sis needs help, what, I'm supposed to just deny her help? You know what I'm saying? And I'm in a state where I, like, they're saying I can't practice midwifery, or not even that. Even the mothers, like, there gotta be some loopholes on how we can help and serve one another. If that means I'm like, I have to, in my state, I can, as a midwife, I won't be able to practice as a midwife, but I can as a doula. Well, then I'm a doula today, so I can serve you. Um, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm saying? Or like, or mom might, it just might, like, that's what I mean by any means necessary. Like, I'm fight for my sister's right to choose her birth worker, and for my right to work as a birth worker, like, by any means necessary. There's mad laws in place that try to stop us from serving one another, stop us from helping one another. And so I'm just like, the people coming in and out of my practice, like, this practice is not for you if you're if you're not thinking like Shipra and Pua, which the Pharaoh's commandment, like, he was like, kill this is my commandment, this is the law, this is where you live here. Let me tell you something, if the baby boy comes out, that you kill him. And they were like, nah, you know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. If the Most High calls me and says that I need you to serve this mother, but Pharaoh has laws that says you cannot, under your credentials, you cannot. It's like, I'm doing what the Most High says. So that's what I mean. People coming in and out of here, you know what I mean? And they're out of my practice must understand that. And the other aspects of my practice before that, it says that it kind of talks about how I can even like implement that kind of thing. So it talks about creating a space that people can rent. We can come together in fellowship, right? So, and then there's also birth workers can say, I'm teaching a class on midwife assistant. I'm teaching a doula class. Can I rent this space? And then I'll have the funds. And then I'm also a massage therapist and esthetician. So I want to make a spa space for birth workers and mothers for the work they do. And so all the funds, I want to make sure, okay, it keeps the facility going. And my part, I'm making money for being a midwife, but this facility keeps the facility going, and all the other funds. If sis is in this state and she wants to work with this midwife that she connected with, and but she doesn't have enough funds, she knows who to call, because so I can make sure that midwife, I can like help her pay that midwife. So that's what I mean. It says, I never know. I'm long-winded, sorry. It talks about so it says, I never know midwives were an option when I birthed my children. I think there needs to be more workshop talking about the option. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And that's why I'm like, well, I guess I'll just go with the aspects of my whole thing. So there's a fellowship aspect, but I'm gonna skip to the training aspect. So the training aspect of my practice would give other community midwives besides myself a space to rent, to hold trainings and classes for birth worker students, mothers, and their families and teen girls. It talks about a little. Well, my part would also be to incorporate some things I've learned, so that we can like in my class learn about like the healing from all that trauma, and also to teach the teens and the women about holistic community care, so they can, like, when you think of young women, they're going to learn about reproductive health. In school they teach about health, but we're talking another level. Like, that's what I'm saying. The mothers that come in and out of here understand. It's proven. The point is, and I should just read it. So it says the fellowship aspect of my practice. It's proven in Heart and Hands, and most of these women who go into this, and I think it's just us as a people too. We connect with what is proven for people who do seek midwifery. It says cultural evolutionary aspects of midwifery care motivates mothers to extend the power and joy of giving birth, to reach beyond the isolation, to network and share their resources, and to raise children cooperatively. Women who choose midwifery naturally seek connection. They long to rise above divisiveness and competition, to establish support systems and create community. And so I said my aspect of my practice would be fellowship, based off of this study information. And it says, as a woman of faith, my practice would serve those of the same faith, implementing our culture, belief, and traditional birth practices. My birth would include an environment with our biblical customs and traditions in mind. So having a meeting room to pray, worship, fellowship, as this in this book, as Pfizer's birth center in like, they have a whole room where they worship, they play piano, and they don't worship. It's I think it's in France, but they have a birth center, and they have like this singing group in there, and it has blessed mothers. They just keep coming. And so if you can see, they're just talking about how it's been, so people just go there, and they bring their children there, and they sing in songs and stuff. And I was like, that's how we are. And it works. And that's people who seek midwifery care. And so I'm like, yeah, we're gonna do that. That's gonna be a place where people can just come, like say every, I don't know, random day, every Thursday. But then also these birth workers and midwife, like whatever birth worker, can actually rent the space, hold trainings. And because people are already coming, they'll be able to see like, oh, I can sign up for this. Oh, I can sign up to learn about reproductive health. I can sign up for, so that yeah, that's what I mean. And that's just natural. Like, as me, as a mother, and I'm a homeschool mother, we're all I teach my daughter already. Like, like, we just talk about life, and it was just like an everyday thing when you're homeschooling. And then as we just get into, they want to know. They're just like, oh, so the baby comes, and then you start talking about it, and then you talk about how it's just natural, how amazing the Most High created your body. Wow, right? Like, can you believe it? Like, we see yeah, when he made it, he said, yeah, Eve is gonna have Eve is gonna have pain, right? She's gonna have pain. But it doesn't say, yeah, it said like that curse that they put in the beginning, like Eve is not is she's gonna receive that pain. Like, that's her portion, that's her cup, right? But it didn't say like you're gonna receive pain, and you're gonna make sure there's gonna be some medical intervention in case you need an epidural and all this stuff. Like, that was never there, because it's not a medical emergency, it's no issue. So when you're talking that with your child and all this, so then you're already raising up the next generation to like, just, this is how birth is. You're not even, you don't, and that's how it is in Africa too. I've been learning that even midwives who, and OBGs who work in a hospital, they don't talk like, so epidural options, painkiller options. They don't talk about that there. Like, one sister, she is an expat in Tanzania, and she said that she was pregnant, she went to go speak to her midwife and everything, and she's like, oh, so what are the options for anesthesia? And she looked at her like, how dare you? Like, you know what I mean? Like, we don't do like they have the option, but like, what you like, we don't even consider that, where we don't consider that, like, this is how birth is, period. And so that's why I'm like, we just like so far gone from our culture. And I think because it's part of the curse, right? And a lot of bad things are happening. It's in Boston, at least it's on the news all the time. Women are dying in these hospitals, having babies. And so yeah, I mean, I guess let me just, I mean, we should pray. For I'm gonna pray just thinking about that. But Abiyahu, I just thank you. I thank you that you are bringing up awareness to our people. We pray for more opportunities to bring awareness and learn. Just like Sis had said, we need more workshops and informations and about these midwife. About what a midwife does, because a lot of us don't know. And it's just so much information. And when we go into the hospital, I think that's easy. They already do it all. But we thank you that you're driving all of us out because you want to save us and protect us, Abba Yahuwah. So I just pray that you give us more information and knowledge that we need, so that we can feel empowered, and be done with fear, be done with doubt. We thank you that you did not give us a spirit of fear, but of love and power and of a sound mind. We thank you. I pray, Abba Yahuwah, that you would just provide those spaces so we can educate one another and learn. And also, Abba Yahuwah, I pray for all these things we've been hearing on the news recently. And I just pray right now in the name of Yahushua Mashiach that your children would not die, but live and declare the works of Yahusha HaMashiach, and also that your women will not die, but declare your works. We thank you, we worship you, and we praise you. You are good. Hallelujah. And your mercy endures forever. So yes, does anybody have anything to share? Any questions, or want to come on and say anything at all? I thank Plumlogs for, everything that she has mention, because that is something that we really do need. And I mean, if nobody else has anything to say or any questions to share, then I'm gonna get off here. And I thank you guys for tuning in. And yeah, be blessed. Shalom. Hmm, How do I get off here?